Let's get to our chairs. And let's come to the very edge of our chairs. We're sitting literally like 1/4 inch from the tipping edge of the chair. And that allows us to have plenty of room to play with, because this practice being done on a chair for most of it, you want to take advantage of having plenty of room around to move your arms, to move your spine, to move your legs. And therefore, it's not just behind and in front of you that you're having room, but also underneath your legs, between the legs and the chair. Then you want to bring your feet hip distance apart and feet parallel, so you can align the feet, the knees, and the hips in the same line. And that gives you the full support that you need to access the feet as being an instrument for movement and stability. And then you bring your hands, we start with the hands on the lap, wherever on the lap, depending on the length of your arms, the position of your hands on your lap might change a little bit, from a little shorter in or longer out. And the position you want to find is that allow the shoulders to drop through the effect of the elbows to bend a little bit. And that way you have full weight of the arms that allows you to drop the shoulders down. And then you want to bring your head right on top of the shoulders, meaning that ideally your ears are aligning with the shoulders. If your chin is forward, this tension being created in the upper back and the neck area that can be over time quite achy. And then if you were to push the chin back, that shifts also the position of your spine, and you have to engage the belly muscles a little deeper and more actively. So you have to find that spot that naturally your bone structure being aligned properly allows the muscles, the organs, the different layers of tissues, including the connective tissues, to relax and soften, and being held just by their own weight, the sense of gravity, and the stacking of the bones on top of each other. And that's where you want to find that resting neutral position, where your spine is open and able to move, and everything feels a little looser and less tense and less tight around the body, and more specifically around the torso. So here we close the eyes because we want to take the attention inwards, and a lot of our attention goes outwards through the sight. So closing the eyes already gives you the opportunity to turn inwards. And as you turn inwards, start noticing your breath. And when I say noticing, it means that you're not trying to change anything. You're kind of witnessing and watching what your own breath is doing. And you're not judging any part of it. You're not wishing it was different. You're not projecting into the possibility of switching to different breathing here. You just stay at peace and content with the breath that you're exploring right now. And you notice if that breath is located more onto the upper torso, like the chest area and the upper part of the chest, or if you're able to notice the breath moving through the rib cage and all areas of the rib cage, not just the by default front of the rib cage, but the sides and the back. And see how far down to the lower ribs the breath is going or not. And notice here if you have a tendency to contract your belly in, which is very common, especially in women, because of being told that good posture involves pulling the belly in. So see if you can relax your belly and allow your belly to soften, which opens access to also sensing and feeling your pelvis. And your pelvis is all those layers of muscles that go across the sit bones, the pubic bone, and the tailbone, and create a hammock, or that's why it's called pelvic bowl. And that's a strong support not only for the spine that is anchored on that floor, pelvic floor, but also for the inner organs, digestive organs, reproductive organs, to be supported through gravity. So feel now the breath. Now that you've come in touch with the physicality of the container where the breath happens, notice if your breath has already shifted a little bit, and maybe some of you had a sigh and a deeper breath suddenly happening. Just allow it to be. And remember to try to breathe through your nose only. Once you have established a little more connection and deeper understanding of your torso in relationship to your breathing, then explore how your legs are being supported through the seat, through the chair, and through the floor with the access and contact of your feet with the floor. And take just 2 or 3 more breaths. Maybe now you try to extend the breath on the inhale and deepen the breath on the exhale for this 2-3 rounds. And let's open the eyes, and we're gonna start our practice today with the warm-up of the joints. And that's a warm-up that if I'm able to edit this video and cut it, that would be the warm-up that you could do every single day just to get your body doing. So we're gonna start with the extremities, starting with the arms first and the hands, elbows, and shoulders. So lift your arms, not too high, not too low, just a right position that is comfortable to keep the shoulders down. And let's start rotating the wrists. And you can do it like 3 to 5 times in one direction as you breathe, and 3 or 5 times in the other direction as you keep on breathing. You can go faster or slower than what I'm doing. And release. Then from the hands, we're going to go into the elbows and rotate also 3 to 5 times the elbows in one direction. And we're using the rotation of the forearms for this. And then you reverse and you keep your shoulders and your elbows in position. Just your forearms have that motion around. 4 and 5. And stretch out. Let's get into the shoulders. So we're rolling the shoulders out and back 3 to 5 times. And reverse and change direction. And again, make it equal. If you're gonna do 3 repetitions, repeat in the opposite direction 3 times. If you're gonna do 5, repeat 5 times. And pause, land your hands down, and let's go to the other extremity of the limbs, the legs and the feet. So you're gonna grab your right leg, and for that it's pretty useful to clasp the fingers so it's easier and have a better control on how you grab the back of the leg. And you press down into the left foot to tilt back, to lift the foot, make yourself comfy, and let's rotate the right ankle 3 to 5 times one direction. And reverse the opposite direction, same amount of repetitions, and relax. And then let's go into the knee. It's the same sequence that we had on the arms. We go one joint at a time from the most, the joint that is the furthest away from the torso to the joint that is the closest to the torso. And reverse. Keep on breathing all along, and relax that lower leg to now go into the hip. Now you're going to use your arms and your hands here, and again 3 to 5 rotations in one direction, and we reverse to the opposite direction. The rotation doesn't need to be super broad. It can be tiny here, and you're still working into your hip joint. And one more, and release, land that right foot down, release that right leg, sit up, Take a breath in and out. And let's go to the other side. Clasp your fingers underneath your left leg. Press into the right foot. Keep your spine long to tilt back. Arms straight and rotate your left ankle 3 to 5 times. Depending on how slow you go, it might be 3, it might be 4, it might be 5. And reverse. As you do this on your own, you pay really close attention to the movement, to how it feels, and relax. And let's rotate now from the knee out. I'm going a little faster than usual here to show you that you're able to do this on your own in the morning as a quick start of the day. It doesn't have to be like half an hour, or this should take about, depending on how many repetitions and the rhythm of it, it shouldn't take more than 15 minutes. And relax. Let's go into the hip joint. 3 to 5 repetitions. And reverse. Make sure you breathe deep. Last repetition on my cycle and numbering. And then release that left foot down. Come back up. Sit tall. Now let's go to the other extremity, the last one, away from the spine, the head. So we're going to go into rotation of the head from side to side, because we want to go into all angles of the head, all directions of the spine here. Nice and easy. And also 3 to 5 repetitions. 5. Come back to center. And now we're going to go into tilting the head down and up. Be mindful, go slow here. Exhale as you tilt down. Inhale as you lift up. And one more. And back to neutral. And let's take some head rolls that you're not going all the way back. You just head rolling forward, meaning that you're tracing a circle to the tip of the nose. 3 to 5 repetitions in one direction. And reverse the other direction. If you tend to be dizzy here, make sure that you go really slow. One last. And back to center. Now let's get into the spine. And we're going to go into the different planes of the spine. So you're going to place your hand maybe a little further on your legs. And we're going to arch the back, roll the hips forward, and round the spine. And we're going to do this also 3 to 5 times. And pull forward, arch, shoulders back, round in, hug the shoulders forward, breathe in as you arch, breathe out as you round. One more. At the first plane of the spine here. Back to center. Then we're going to go from side to side, tilting from right to left. And again, we would do it 3 to 5 times, and 3 to 5 times means that you do the movement on both sides. So this is one movement. I did right and left. Now I'm on my fourth one, right and left. And fifth, right and left. And then the next and last plane of the spine is twisting from side to side. So you're gonna go to the right, use your right hand on the chair and the left hand on top of the leg and twist. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. And also 1 repetition means that you do it on each side. We're at 3 here. Inhale, exhale. And again, you can pace yourself to going slower. No need to go faster than this in the twist. And last one, twist. And twist. And back to center. And the last move is spinal rotations. So again, you press down into your feet, you feel rooted on your sit bones, and it can be tiny rolls like really up here to bigger rolls, and we do 3 to 5 times in one direction. That's my last here. And pause and go to the other side. And last one to complete the 5 repetitions that I've been doing. Come back to center, and that's it. And you would be ready to start your day with having opened all the joints in the different angle that they're capable of. And that also activate the blood circulation, the lymphatic circulation, the digestive system get ignited also through moving the body, and the breath get to move deeper and wider just with those simple movements. So from here, we're gonna keep on going for our class. Now that we did the warm-up, let's go into bigger range of motion and more active exercising. Left hand goes on top of the left leg, and we're gonna use the right arm to go not only into stretching and extending forward and bringing the spine forward, but also into rotating. So now we're enhancing all the warms up that we just did into broader range of motion now that everything is warm and nice. And let's go for 5 repetitions also. Spread back and release. Pause and breathe and notice the body, how things are feeling. And let's go to the other side. Left arm reaches forward. You hinge it from the hips here. And you open back. You allow your head to follow the movement of the arm. Nice and easy. Breathe in as you reach forward. Breathe out as you open. One more. And release. Take a moment here. Pause and breathe. Good. Bringing your arms behind, grab the chair, and we're going to go into opening the chest a little deeper from bending the elbows back and together. You're going to poke and stretch the arms as you poke the chest forward, and then bend the elbows back and bring the shoulders forward. And now you're rounding a little bit the upper back, you drop the head down. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, arch, open the chest, exhale, round in. Rock the hips forward, stretch shoulders back. If this is too challenging, you can bring your hands down to the base of the chair. If you have arms to your chair, you can use the arms, but make sure that if you use the arms, you tuck the elbows in. You want to bring the wings together, the wings of the shoulder blades together, and then open the space between the shoulder blades. Now you bend the elbows to the side, roll the elbows back again, and around, and one last, pull and stretch up, and round, releasing back to center. Take a moment here to pause and breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Bringing your right foot about 2 inches back. Make sure you keep it in the same line, and your left foot about 2 inches forward. And we're gonna press into the right foot and push the hips back a bit, and then pull from the left foot and rock forward. Press into the right foot and pull from the left foot. And we're gonna go several times, several rounds, through the pressing and the pulling of the feet, you start having this rocking motion of the spine. And it might feel a little confusing at first. So that just trust your own movement. Trust your feet pressing down, shifting, and waving your spine. I'm gonna go sideways so you can see the movement here. And now we're gonna add the movement of the arms. And I'm gonna face you again because the back of the chair is gonna bother me here for that. So you're gonna bring the arms to a swing. And go a little more actively, where you bounce the arms forward and back. And you feel a little activation of the heart rate. Your breathing might change here. You can go slower than I'm going. You can go a little faster than I'm going. And go with strength and power. Use your legs firmly to push and rock your spine, and use your arms even though they're bent, like my elbows are bent, but I'm really going for it. It's kind of a run almost. A few more. And slow down. And relax. Bring your left foot a couple of inches in, your right foot a couple of inches forward, and find your neutral position here with your feet hip distance apart and parallel. And take a couple of breaths and appreciate that your heartbeat is pounding a little stronger into your chest. And maybe feel a little bit of heat around, all the way to maybe around your head. And let's go for the other side. So you're gonna move that right foot an inch or two forward, inch and a half to 2 inches. Your left foot slides back. Make sure that you're I'm keeping the same alignment, right? I'm still to parallel. I'm not moving to the sides. I'm just sliding the foot in the same line forward and back. So now there's a space between those 2 feet so that I can start my traction and pushing and pulling from the feet forward and back that activate my thigh. So depending on which foot you're pressing on or pulling from, you'll feel the activation of that full leg. And you rock. You find your rhythm here. And then let's add the arm. Start easy with a little like strolling, right? And let's go a little more active. And bounce those arms forward and back. Swing them with strength and determination. And keep the movement and the action of the legs so that the torso can go forward and back. And you get that momentum as if you were literally walking, fast walking down the street. You haven't maybe done any fast walking in a long time. So just get back to that cellular memory of when you were a kid and you were going wild and you were running all around and the body was following the whole movement and synchronizing every step, every breath, just on its own naturally. A few more. Get a little more active here. And start slowing down, coming back to center. Slide your right foot in a bit. Slide your left foot forward a little bit and pause and breathe and feel. And you might have different sensations on this side and on this ride than the previous one. I'm feeling a lot of heat myself along my spine and especially in between the shoulder blades for some reasons that I hadn't spotted on the first side. So notice for yourself what feels similar, what feels different. Good. Opening the toes out, knees out. Take a moment here to press to the inner thighs and give a little bouncing. So you're going to place your hands right above the knees, not right on the knees, but a little bit above. And you give a little pulse here. If your hips are hurting, then be very gentle with the pulsing. If your knees and your hips are just fine, you can go a little more actively. You feel a bouncing. You're not forcing to the point that, oh, I want to open so far. It's just a little pulsing. And you feel the resistance. You keep your feet anchored. A few more. You can feel that action also in your upper arms, to the back of the upper arms. Those are the muscles required to get that movement going, because the action is not in the legs. I'm using my hands and arms to bounce. And slow down. Don't stop just all at once. Go more narrow and more subtle, and release. And then bring the heels out and the toes in, and hands to the outside of the legs, and you're gonna bounce in. And again, check in, be mindful about how your hips are feeling, how your glutes are feeling. If anything is really deeply achy, it can be a little achy and uncomfortable and kind of tight and odd, but not painful. If you feel that you have an acute pain to the inner knees or into the hips, then just stay and pause and don't bounce. Just stay in the position if you're able to hold it, and breathe into where you felt the achiness. If not, keep on bouncing. Knees are coming in together, toes are in. Let's take a few more here. And then slow down. Gentle bouncing, almost no bouncing, and no bouncing at all. Feel, take a moment here. And then let's open the toes out, and that's the position that we were aiming to, with the legs far out. The knees are right on top of the feet. The toes are not in, neither further out than the knees. Look and make sure that the feet and knees are in the same alignment that they were when they were facing forward. It's the only thing that has changed is that we've opened the legs out here. But the relationship of the feet with the knees and the hips is the same. And from here, we're gonna go into side gentle bouncing. So you're gonna bring your right arm up and bring your forearm on top of your head, and completely relax that hand to the side. And use your left hand for support on the left leg. And we're gonna bounce, tiny bouncing as you press. I'm pressing down into the leg with my left hand to bounce back up. And then I bend the elbow to allow the bouncing into the folding to the side. If for some reason you have some restrictions into your shoulder and arm to keep your forearm on top of the head, you can still do the bouncing here with your hand down. It just doesn't stretch the right side as much, but it's still valid. It's still working your stretch here. And a few more. Next time that you're leaning over to the left, stay and stretch. And think about sliding your right elbow further away from the hip, and breathe wide. So I have the support here of the left hand, so I'm not collapsing. I'm using that left hand engaged to find my edge in the stretch of the right side of the torso. And as I'm sliding that right elbow further away, I feel a deepening in the stretch. I'm opening more space between the ribs here. One more breath. And press from your left hand to come back up. We're gonna keep the right forearm on top of the head and gently tilt your head out to the right. So your right hand is just relaxing and adding a little weight to the side of the head, giving you a nice deep stretch onto the left side of the neck. Again, if your right hand is down here because your shoulder couldn't take it, you can still gently tilt your head to the right and stay here and breathe. And gently releasing back to neutral as you release your right arm. And neutral being here the position we started with in this exercise. And then right hand is your anchor on your right thigh, and you're gonna bring your left forearm on top of the head. Relax your hand to the side. And really, if you can bring the arm up here, then really rest your forearm. It's not bringing your forearm up above the hair. I know, ladies, I know some of you that you don't want to mess up your hair. Guess what? Right after, you can go to the restroom, to your bathroom, and rearrange if things have come out of place and nobody's watching you. So bring your forearm, really trust it. Heavy arm, heavy head, heavy hand, not head. And then from here, we're gonna bounce to the right. And use your right hand to push yourself away, and then go with the momentum to lean to the right and bounce again. This side might feel more open than the other side and more natural, or the opposite. It might feel awkward to bounce on this side when on the other side you were feeling really that you were grooving it. Keep on breathing all along. Do not hold your breath. And next, bouncing, you stay in position in the tilt. You stay here, you pull the elbow a little further away, you stretch into the left side, you breathe bigger and deeper into the left side. Press down into the right foot, press down into the right hand to come up, and start tilting your head to the left. Your left hand becomes heavier to the right side of the head. Stretch into the neck. Deep, long breath. And gently releasing back up, releasing your arm, head back to center, shake things out if it feels a little achy or a little tight. Shake the shoulders, shake your head a little bit, and back to neutral. Bringing the arms up to the side, palms facing down, press down into the feet. So this is, here we're getting into the challenge today that we're keeping the legs open wide like this for a while with different exercises. So that's challenging you not to drop and not to release the action of the legs. I want you to reconnect each time to pressing down into your feet and engaging the legs for support of the arms and the torso. So you start with your palms facing down to the floor, and then we're going to rotate palms up and down. Keep the elbows soft, and start with the rotation of the hand right at the end of the arms where the shoulders are not moving. And then we're going to add the rotation of the arms into the rotation of the shoulders, in and out. A few more. Keep on breathing. Be mindful of the movement of the arms from the fingers all the way to the shoulders. And face down. Face your right hand up and left hand down, and we're gonna kind of fly. We're gonna pulse with the arms all the way to the hands with one palm up and the other one down, and you'll feel like right away gravity and tension and resistance through your arms. Keep on going. Try to keep your shoulders down and relax. One more pulsation here, one more deep breath. Stop and flip the other side. Left palm up, right palm down, and let's pulse up and down. Let's fly. Let's move the wings up and down, tiny bit, like an inch up and down. And just one full breath here, one more. And out. And stop pulsing, both palms down. Bring the arms in front of you, cross, open up, and down. That's to relax all the way across the arm. Opposite way of crossing. Inhale up and down. cross, breathe in and out, cross, breathe in and out. So this is an excellent movement to train yourself to take, for example, your clothes off. This is the way that you would take your t-shirt off or your sweater off. But when you do that, a lot of times we're in the wrong position, meaning that we have the spine like this, and it becomes very challenging. We have a hard time breathing as we pull the arms up. The arms don't want to go up. So find space to open and lift the arms and make them fly up. Be very light, very flexible, where the breath here is fully inhaling into the rib cage, and when you release out, you're exhaling, and it becomes a movement that is very natural. One more on each crossing of arms. And last. And release. Hands resting on your legs. You're gonna pull your toes in, rotate in, bring your heels in, knees out, and bring your feet to parallel. You should be about hip distance apart now. Readjust as needed to make sure that you are in that initial neutral position, our king pose or queen pose. And let's breathe a few rounds of breath here. We're gonna lean forward, left hand on top of the left knee, and then right hand goes to the front of the right knee. And depending on what the best access you have to hold on the knee, because we're gonna do a lift of the leg here, so it can be straight with your fingers down, it can be to the inside, or it can be to the outside. And you'll know pretty soon where it's more comfortable. You can try any of those three options. You press down into your left hand, you press down into your left foot, you squeeze your pelvic floor muscles. And the squeezing of the pelvic floor muscles is like holding your feet. Is when you feel this urge to go to the bathroom and is not available right now, and you have to hold it and squeeze it so it doesn't come out. This is the action that starts engaging the pelvic floor muscles. And then you catch that right knee that you have either front, side, or the inner. And then you're gonna lift. As you lift the foot just a bit, you want to really press down into your left foot, press down into the left hand. Your left arm ideally is straight, depending on the length of the arm. And you absolutely don't want to do this. You want to keep your spine nice and long. And from engaging the pelvis, you're going to feel the belly engaging also. And now you lift, feel the belly super engaged, and you relax. And we're going to do this 5 times. Press down into the left foot, lift, hold, tighten the belly, and land. And inhale, lift, tighten the pelvis, the belly, and down. And 2 more, lift, and down. And last one, lift. Keep on breathing, maybe hold it up a little bit, but you keep on breathing here. And relax down. Stretch that right arm forward, tilt the tailbone back, extend, stretch the belly, lift up, and relax down. Let's go to the other side. Here you start from that same position. Your right hand is right on top of the knee. Your left hand is in front of the left knee. You press down into the right foot, down into the right hand. You engage your pelvis, you engage your belly, and then you lift. Lift for 1/2 inch or 1 inch from the floor, and land. When you land, you completely relax your pelvis and your belly, and then you re-engage as you press down into the right foot, engaging the right leg. That automatically gives a signal to your pelvis and belly to engage. Lift up and down. Relax, press and lift, engage, and down. Press and lift and engage. And down. And one more. This one, we're going to hold it up a bit if we can. Squeeze the pelvis, squeeze the belly, keep your foot rising. And release down, extend your left arm forward, tilt the tailbone back. Maybe there's a little arching into your low back. Lift up, stretch the belly. And releasing down. Good. Take a breath or two here. Relax on your seat. Notice differences around the pelvis, around the belly, in your legs. Deep, long breath. Opening your left foot out, toes out to start with, and pivot and heel out. Toes out, heel out. And see how far you can go and anchor now your foot, rotating your toes in, and give an inner rotation of the full leg. From here where we're sitting, both sit bones equally on the chair, you're going to turn the toes in, straighten the leg, and roll all the way to the inner hip here. And then you're going to open your right foot out, right heel, right foot, and stay. Right hand goes on top of the right knee. You're lengthening toward the right, so you're shifting your weight onto your right hand. You already feel that diagonal stretch from the left hip to the right shoulder. And here we're gonna see how far along the right leg we can go without feeling a deep pull on the back, without compromising anything here. You just relax your arm here and see how far the left shoulder can go forward. And then you're gonna make a fist with your left hand and imagine that there's a bucket here, that you're grabbing the bucket with water and you pull up and you push down into your right foot, down into your right hand, you anchor your back foot and you stretch open and you drop that bucket. And then you come back in, you relax. You can move your head a little bit. And then grab something heavy here, press up and open up. Release and down. Inhale, pull up, press down into your feet. And exhale. One more, lift. Make it as if there was really something strong and heavy here so that you have a resistance of that arm as you come up. You open the chest, you resist, then you relax as you open your fingers and you release your arm down. You bring your left hand on top of the right hand, you push up, you stretch the shoulders up and back, you look to the right side, you breathe, you extend and reach through the left leg. Maybe you have even more a rotation of the left hip in and you're strongly grounding onto your right sit bone and your right foot. And then rotate that left, start the rotation of the hip back, bend the knee, bring your left heel in, left foot in, left hip in, and back to center, right foot in, right heel in, and back to parallel. Find your center and breathe. And feel and notice any small, tiny to major differences between one side and the other side. And let's go to the other side. Let's start with the right leg first. Right toes out, right heel out, right toes out, right heel out, right toes out. That's going to really depend on the ability to open the hip here and to leverage the leg. So it might be tiny in or far out. You're trying to really bring that leg to extend out. And once you find your edge, you rotate the toes. There's going to be a rotation from the toes all along the leg, all the way to the hip. So now my right sit bone is not anchored on the chair. And my leg is straight. So find the right angle of both the foot and the distance of the leg to be able to keep that knee straight. Don't bend it, don't stay like this. Then you're gonna feel it here and in your inner knee. So press, you push down into that right foot to rotate the hip toward the left. And then you rotate the left toes out, right, left heel out, left toes out. And now you have your position where you can really tweak your hips toward the left. And your right leg is nice and long. Left hand is on top of the knee. You're leaning into that hand and into the foot. Breathe here. And then let's go to this side. Right arm goes forward and down. The right shoulder is pulling in. And then grab that heavy bucket. And bending the elbow with the fist in your hand. Lift and extend up. Then release the bucket. Relax your hand. And bring your arm back down. You're looking down because usually when you're going to grab something down, you have to look at what you're grabbing to be able to grab it. So look down, grab, tight, 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 stretch in front of you, lift up. You're following the gaze here. You open the hand, you release and drop the bucket. And down. And lift, bend the elbow, trace your hand in front of you, expand up, and drop. And keep your legs actively engaged. And lift, expand, and down. And one last. Pull, stretch, reach up. And release. And right hand goes on top of the left. You push and lift up. You breathe, you keep that inner rotation of the right hip facing forward toward the left knee, and you look in the direction of the left knee forward. Nice gaze. Lift the sternum, the breastbone up, and soften. Bring that right heel in, right foot in, right heel in. Shift your weight to both sit bones, left foot in, left heel in, left toes in, and find your center. Look down, make sure your ankles are right underneath your knees, your feet are pointing forward, hands on top of the lap. Take a couple breaths here, in and out. Arms to the side, shake hands, elbows, and shoulders up and down. Shake the shoulders forward and back. So shake that one shoulder goes forward, the other one back. Shake it, shake the chest. Hands to the knees, shake your legs out. And release. Feel the body. Take a couple breaths here. Notice how everything is going here. Last move for today, and today we won't be standing because we're already like close to the time. Left hand to your knee, you're going to stretch that right foot forward, flexing the foot, anchor the heel, slide your right hand down and find your edge. So your edge can be up here if you really tighten the hamstring and low back, or it can be past the knee. Make sure you're not placing your hand right on top of the knee. You don't want to push into the knee joint down. So it can be pushing down onto the thigh, pushing down onto the shin. If you're super bendy, you can bring your forearm, your left forearm and elbow on top of the right leg. And you can even touch the toes and maybe even pull your toes back, depending on the length of your arm, the length of the stretch. Make sure here, I'm going to go sideways again for demoing this part. Make sure you're not trying, it's impossible to go down your leg if you're doing it from the upper back. If you think that you're going to reach to your foot by rounding the upper back like this, it's not going to happen. So you really have to find the space from the hips. It's a hinging of the hips where you tilt your hips forward, your whole spine is coming along. The movement is initiated by the hips rotating forward and the tailbone rotating back, right? And from here now, depending on how your hamstring, how tight your hamstring is, you might be able to go 1 inch forward, 2 inches. What is going to give you your edge is that at some point, your back is going to start rounding because you cannot, the hips are not able to rotate further forward. So that's where now you can round the back a little bit if you want to bring your hand down. But you have to start with a nice long back to feel the edge from the hips. And then here, again, we're at that point that some of you might be all the way down here. Then if you can grab your toes, you can enhance the stretch with pulling your toes back towards you. And you feel deeper stretch in the calf muscle. And breathe. Take long breath here. Press down into the left foot. That gives you the leverage here and the foundational balance and stability. And my chair is sliding back. And then release the pull of the toes if you were down there and walk your way up. Bring your left hand on top of the leg. Point your toes down. Press the ball of the foot and the sole of the foot down. And extend the right arm up and stretch. And then release that right hand. You can place your hand on the chair behind you. And then roll the shoulders back. And stretch and pull the sternum and the lower ribs away from the pubic bone. Last stretch here. And relax. Slide your right foot in. Find hip distance apart. Equal, even weight all around. And let's go to the other side. Your right hand can already slide forward so that automatically also what happens is that you're starting tilting your hips forward. You're kind of giving the direction in which you're heading. And then extend the left foot forward, flex the foot, anchor the heel, left hand on top of the leg. Now you're hinging from the hips to tilt forward. Find your first edge. Maybe that's your edge. Now you press or you place your hand onto the leg and you see if leveraging between pressing, but no press too far down because again, you don't want to lock the knee. But the pressing can be also not pressing down to the back of the leg, but it can be pressing down toward the foot. And that gives an extension in the stretch, in the pull. If you're able to go lower, you go lower. If you're able to bring your elbow, you bring your elbow. You keep your foot flexed. Even if your knee pops up, because for those who have really tight hamstring, that's what's going to happen. The knee is going to pop up. And that's fine. The knee can pop up, but I want you to keep the flexing of the foot. That is what's going to really engage and communicate into the stretch to the back of the thigh and the back of the calf. And if you're all the way down, comfy, like just hanging out, you can give an extra pull to the toes and breathe. One or two rounds of breath where you fully, deeply breathe in through the nose and you fully, deeply breathe out through the nose. And then you release the toes. If you're holding on the toes, you walk your way up. You press into your right hand to lift. You point your toes down. You press ball of the foot, sole of the foot down, and extend the left arm up, palm facing forward. Find that first layer of the stretch here. Then you keep your leg extended. You swing your arm down. You find the base of the chair here, and you push into the chair to roll the shoulders back, lift the lower ribs, lift the sternum up, stretch the belly, and relax back to center. Slide your left foot back in, come back to sitting, readjust as needed right at the edge of the chair. Make sure your ankles are underneath the knees, hands are resting, shoulders are dropping, close your eyes. And breathe. Now bring all your awareness, all your attention, the fullness of your mind comes onto the breathing. And feel that breath, feel the power of the breath. Maybe at first when we started the practice this morning, it was a shy, weak, shallow breath. And notice now if the breath has regained its power, its full function, its depth and fullness. Fully oxygenating the body on the breath in and fully releasing any stale air, any carbon dioxide that might have get trapped into the lowest part of the lungs for lack of action here. and see if you can squeeze the bottom of the lungs out with a gentle squeezing of the belly in at the end of the breath out. And then on the inhale, you feel the belly expanding out as the diaphragm goes down to allow the lungs to fill up fully. And as you start your exhale, the diaphragm start lifting up into the ribs. And at the very bottom of it, you give an extra squeeze to the belly to squeeze the bottom part of the lungs out. One more breath in this manner, following the strength, the depth, the power of the breath. And then go back to your normal breathing where you're not thinking too much about what the breathing should be doing, but you're still aware of it. And use that gentle breath that comes in and out to get into the body, to scan the different parts of the body, to see how everything is feeling at the end of the class. So start maybe with your toes, have a communication here, connection to your toes. From your toes, you may start feeling the sole of the feet, from the ball to the heel, and the top of the feet. And now you feel the ankles, supporting the relationship between the legs and the feet. From the ankles, you may choose to ride the shin bone up to the knees, or you may want to feel the calf muscles to the back of the shins, up to the back of the knees. And then feel your knees with the kneecap on the top, the bending to the back of the knees. Maybe have also a sensation from the inside of the knees to the outer knees. And feel the connection between the knees and the thigh. Try to connect deep through the layers of muscles to your thigh bone and feel the sturdiness of that long, thick bone. And how that bone being anchored onto the knees on one hand and the hips on the other end give full support and anchoring for all the muscles around, and the ligaments and the tendons from joint to joint, the different layers of muscle that are hugging the bone and giving action and movement to the bone structure. And right now it's in how much you can relax all those muscles around and just relax with your feet grounding down and your sit bones grounding down on the chair. And feel the hips and feel the relationship of the hips with the pelvis, how the pelvis is connecting the pubic bone to the front, to the tailbone to the back. And then above, feel your belly. Maybe you feel the breath deep down into the belly here. And then feel the low back, where there's a set of flat bones across the low back from the sacrum in the middle and the sacroiliac joints on each side, like gentle wings here. And then connect to the tailbone from the base of the spine and get a sense for your spine rising and extending up from the tailbone through the sacrum, past the sacrum, up, mid-spine, upper spine, the space between the shoulder blades. Feel that spine running in between the shoulder blades. And then feel the exposed spine into the neck area, because the neck is narrow compared, for example, to the low back, where there's a lot of protection all around. So feel the magic of how amazing the neck is, supporting the heaviness of the head and the brain, as if literally the head was floating above the shoulders. And then feel the shoulders, the sides of the neck. And hopefully your shoulders are quite heavy and relaxed right now. And from the shoulders, feel the upper arms, the elbows, the forearms, connecting to the wrists. And from the wrist, your hands are comfortably supported and resting on top of your legs. Have an experience of how your fingers are doing. Feel your palms, whether they're warm or cold. Maybe there's some sweat in your palms after all this movement and breathing. Maybe they're extra dry. And then feel the top of the hands opened to the air around and the contact and touch of the air in your room. If you're like me, I have a ceiling fan right above, so I feel the gentle touch, the breathe of the fan touching the skin of my hands. And then feel the whole front of your torso from your belly to your collarbones, the front of the throat, and go onto your face and notice if there's anything that you're tensing up around your face. Most probably some of you or several of you have tension around the eyes, and for some reason you're squeezing the eyes tight and you feel the tension all around the eyes, past the eyebrows, onto your forehead. And can you relax that space? Can you relax the forehead and the space between the eyebrows so that the eyes and the eyelids can relax? Relax your jaw all the way to the sides of the jaw that are close to the ears, and relax the ears. Take a couple of breaths in the full awareness of the whole body. Trying to bring into your field of awareness the whole body at once. And let's close our morning practice with a rubbing of the hands. Placing your hands on top of your eyes, like cupping your eyes with your hands. And take a breath or two here, or three. Just feel the warmth, feel the comfort that the hands' softness and warmth bring into the eye space. And when you're ready, you may release your hands and allow your eyes to open and come back to the room you're in. Come back to the relationship of your body with the room and the sounds around and the visuals you get around your room. And that's how we're closing our practice this morning.